Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan here on Wednesday. So we have the picnic quilt, but a bunch of other stuff too. It's kind of like a Tackle It Tuesday on Wednesday for me. So hey, that's where we're at. First up, I just wanted to, I left this out with a note for myself. When I was telling you that I would staple a note to the front and the back of my quilts and the quilt backing for my long armor, many of you wrote, oh, well, I safety pin mine, which is awesome. That is another way you can do it. I don't happen to have safety pinned. I never did. I always stapled it. That's just the way my brain works. It also, because I would ship all of them pretty much until now, 22 years of quilt making, I ship my quilts, and therefore if I sent a safety pin, my long armors would feel obligated to keep track of that little safety pin in order to send it back to me, and I just felt like it was easier for me to just staple it. So I thought maybe you would like to know the reasoning behind it, because there actually was a reason. It's not just that I never thought of safety pins. I know about safety pins, and if you are doing something not very often, safety pins are great. But I've had I've had hundreds and hundreds of quilts long armed, and so it's just easier for me to staple. They throw the staple away, and that's it. all done. No, don't have to keep track of anything. Okay, today our color of the month. So every month I have a color of the month where you share quilts made in that color, and it is the infamous, famous aqua, teal, turquoise, the trifecta. Aqua is lighter than teal, which is lighter than turquoise. That's primarily how people reference the three colors that make that shade. So what do I have? I have my sea glass. I'll show you mine. And tomorrow, if this gets sewn up today, hopefully it will, then sea glass goes up there to get finished. I need it finished. I do. So here it is. There is a lot of it sewn. See how much is sewn? I mean, I could stop there, but I have more blocks, so I will keep going. But this is my turquoise. Ah, so nice. What I have, the rest of it that I have, is here. So I have another little section sewn, and then a bunch of blocks. So pretty much what I'll do is all of this stuff will go up on the design wall. That's already finished, I will look at, am I putting it on the side? Am I doing a row across the bottom? You know, what extra do I want to put on there based on how many of these I have? So I have to do all of that figuring. But before I do all that figuring, the picnic quilt has to be sewn together. So let's just take a look at where I am with the picnic quilt. Since I'm standing, the sections are all done. This one is one of the quadrants I've sewn together. So this is the first quadrant, and there I just knocked, there was a pin. All right, I'm going to put another one in. I had a pin like this, and I just knocked it on the floor. But that's so that I know this is the top left corner. So I'll pin the top left corner so that I don't get turned around and accidentally sew it the wrong way, which could easily happen. And you know, all of these are color placed very specifically now at this point. So, okay, up a little bit more. So what I want to do is I've got all of these larger units. So I'm going to sew them, and then sew the other side so I can get the middle done. After that, I have the border, and so I'll have to decide, do I put the border directly against the picnic quilt, or do I put a little white-inch strip to separate that border? Thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. How would you do it? Because there's no right answer. It's just whatever looks. My initial feeling is to put a little bit of a white strip first. You know, maybe the same size as the square. That's pretty big. I don't really think I want that. So I'm not sure, something smaller would look balanced. So I may just go right against it and be done. That might be what it is. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning, but I don't know. Once I sew it, I can put it up there and mess around, see what it looks like. Okay, there are other celebrations for today. It is Hot Air Balloon Day. This block is a hot air balloon block that I did from a charity quilt along with the Fat Quarter Shop quite a few years ago. I don't know, it might be at least 10 years ago now. This is went into a quilt that was donated for the charity of that time. At that time, the Fat Quarter Shop was doing, every year they changed the charity, and then they ultimately just went with Make-A-Wish of Austin so that they could just have one charity they worked with. So I forget which charity the donations were for, but it is a pattern that you can still get. And so in the description box below and at my website today, I have a link to that pattern, which has all the blocks together for the entire quilt. And the quilt is so darn cute. Let me show it to you. This is the full quilt, and we will do this as a sew along one day. I keep putting it on there to do. The blocks are a bit more work to do. I would love to do it again with the black and white polka dots, but I've already kind of done it with the black and white polka dots, so I might, change that up to maybe gingham. Maybe that would be really fun. Do some sort of gingham where where I used black and white before. Anyway, if you have a quilt with hot air balloons, and I know a bunch of you probably do because that's kind of a popular thing, send it over. Years ago, Greg and I were coming from New Jersey into Pennsylvania. I forget the name of the town, but it's where Crayola Crayons is, if you know the area. And we were coming along on the highway and went up to the ridge, and the sky was filled with hot air balloons. It was so spectacular. It was so spectacular. And just such a fun experience. I don't know that I could ever find the pictures because it was long before digital cameras existed. So they would have been real pictures that we took, not digital pictures. But it just was such a cool thing. We did too. People were pulling off. There wasn't a lot of traffic at that time, so people were pulling off to watch as the balloons were going up. So, in my new community for our YouTube here, which is the Fireside Chat at Facebook, if you have some hot air balloon stories and memories with pictures that you want to share, because you can share pictures there. You can tell me about the story here at YouTube in the comments, and that's an awesome thing. But if you actually have a picture and want to share it, you can do that over at the Fireside Chat, which is open for the YouTube community here. And it's a private group. It's for us to share photos about the things that we talk about here on YouTube. Okay, so that is Hot Air Balloon today, Hot Air Balloon Day. And it is Thank You Day. Oh, Thank You Day. So if you have done a quilt as a thank you, many quilters have done that. Somebody does something for you and you give them a quilt to say thank you. We hear gorgeous, heartwarming stories all the time in my community, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, about this happening. So if you have one that you want to share the quilt, share the story. If you just want to share the story, do it here at YouTube. All right, what do I have? Heart of America. Let me just show you the kind of preamble to getting it done. So I'm going to tell you, timing-wise, when this came back, the Heart of America, I was able to just go ahead and trim it and put the binding on. So I'm trimming it right now. So it's here, I've got this ruler, and I'm getting it trimmed up, and the binding is already made, so I will get that out and I will do it the day it came back from the spa. This may be a record. No, actually, I did this a lot when I had the trade show, because the things would come in, I would have to get them done immediately so I could be ready to go to the trade show. So yeah, it does happen, but not usually. Not lately. So here is the awesome back, the back fabric, and I pretty much used all of it. I didn't keep any extra. Remember, I put a border all around it, and it was pretty much needed for the top and the bottom, just to get, so that is all the pattern, the top and the bottom. And this is the only piece that was cut off that still had part of the pattern. That was it, and the floral. So I was thinking, maybe I don't need a hanging sleeve. But you know, it's really, 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 really hard for me not to put a hanging sleeve because I like to hang pieces occasionally. And if I give it and somebody has a curtain rod, they can hang it. So I thought, okay, I'm not. And then, you know, nope, can't do that. So here it is. So I put the floral, I'm going to put the floral at the top for this hanging sleeve, like that. And then press that under. So, you know, it's not matching or anything like that, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I think it's fun. And I have the hanging sleeve on there. So I'm going to get that ready and then do the binding. Here's the scrappy binding that I did from the small pieces. I used it all up pretty much in the blue. So here we go. It'll be just a few hours since it's been delivered. And getting the binding on. And guess what? Guess what? Guess what? It is finished. It is quilted. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Quilted, quilted, quilted. Ta-da! Oh, so excited. So excited because I am going to switch quilts out. Probably right after I film this video, I'm going to start working on that. But here is Heart of America. What I want to do is hang that here in my studio. And the backing. Remember, I bought the, our common word for this is cheater cloth. You know, so it's a fabric that looks kind of like a pieced quilt, right? Well, it looks exactly like a pieced quilt. I had my long armor at the spa do swirls and, you know, sort of sunbursts. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can see them. Sort of like swirls and sunbursts there. So, so very excited. Very, very excited about this one. Okay. So what else do I have? Hold on. Continuing on more of a Tackle It Tuesday theme, you know, sometimes you have things that are just not in the right place and time for you. You have to get them organized in order to get working on them. You know, maybe you too often you have to put all your things away in order to start sewing, and so you make a change to get everything out where it should be so that you can just sit down and sew, like you make yourself a spot. Well, for me, my nemesis right now is getting cross stitch set up so that I can just sit and stitch on it. And I told you I really want to follow along the 4 weeks with the Halloween one right now. So I got some setup done, and I thought this could benefit you even if you're doing it for some other topic and not necessarily for cross stitch. So let's go. So after I finished filming on Tuesday, I decided, you know, I want to get the cross stitch set up because if I don't, it just won't happen. It won't happen. And so I am going to see. I have to see what the center is of this thing, and I want to start stitching. So I have to have a stitching plan. I am working on that little bird, which is so sweet. And I have other stuff, and I just need to stitch each day something. That is a good goal. It's not one I've done real well, but I want to. I don't think I showed you this either. I went searching around. I think this was from last year, but I also have the ghost pool. So perfect. But this is what I'm going to keep this stuff in for this guy. So for what I've been doing, I don't know what you do, but if you're like been cross-stitching like forever and you're a master, you have your own plan, I'm sure. But what I have been finding that's starting to work good for me is to take, don't these look pretty? Look at that. Look at that. Look how pretty those are. Peach and purple. Oh, so nice. Okay, I digress. But what I found is that if I just need to take a couple of lengths, working lengths, and put them on here. Once I do that, then I'm good. Then I feel like, okay, I can go. I do not want to put the whole thing on here because then I lose track of what is it. I won't know it's bean sprout. So I need to just put a working length. Well, then what? I can get like 3 lengths out of that. So I just need 1 working length, and this particular brand has them cut to length. So I don't, unlike here, this is like 1 continuous long piece. Here it is not that. It is just the 1. And so I will take 1 and I'll put it on the little pumpkin, and I'll put this back on here, and then I will put it in that zipper bag again, back in that zipper bag, and then put that whole thing, okay, that got messed up, and put that whole thing in the plaid bag. Because if I keep it, I'm finding if I keep it organized like that, then I can just go and get another length. Now maybe all of you do that, but I don't want to transfer numbers and stuff. That's work. That's work. So I've got this guy, and of course I'll be using the pumpkin because that little border here is pumpkin when you look at it on your color copy. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this all set up, and then I will come here and figure out where the center is of this, then count down, and okay, so let me just turn it so that it says the name of the fabric at the top, just because I'm going to be looking at that and I don't want it upside down. It just will make me nuts. So I like to work at the bottom quadrant, so I will start stitching this quadrant first, and then see how much I get done by next Tuesday. And so then on next Tuesday, we get the next part. And, you know, more than likely, just like the quilt, the sections are, there's more than just a little bit. It's not like 1 12-inch block or something like that, or just a few pieces. Same with the cross stitch. It's a good chunk of work, but I think if I work on it every day, I've done one like this where I really kept up and got it done maybe a week after or something like that. So I'm gonna give it a good old college try. The quilters try, the stitchers try. Okay, so that's the plan. Get them all on the cute pumpkins too, because they're just so sweet. I love them. I love cute stuff. That's just all it is. Love cute stuff. So I'll get this set up. Okay, so I thought I would start in the lower right by finding the center and then just going across. But then I realized the next release that comes out is the top left. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to have to try to measure that up to there accurately, I'm just going to get rid of this, remove it, and then come and work on this section. Because I like to work left to right, bottom to top, that's how I do. I'll start left to right. But it's like, duh, I just was like, I prefer to start at the bottom right, but that's not how it's going to be released. So we do not want to have to be counting weirdly all over the place. Okay, so a little unstitching. I could just snip it and throw it away because it's really not that much. I could do that too. And after taking out the fail down here, I've got this going now, and it's actually stitching pretty quickly. So I have it laying out, and that way I can just pick it up. I'm not putting it away all the time. So it's pretty much going to lay on my back table here. So every time I just am back there, I can do a few stitches for wherever I am. Everything is set up. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll give progress reports all month. So the last thing for today is your Harrisonburg quilt. If you have made the quilt, you didn't have to make it during the quilt along, although you probably started it because the quilt along lasted like 5 months. But if you happen to have started it after we have finished the official quilt along, that's totally fine. You just need to be submitting a Harrisonburg quilt. There are categories for size. That way we can have a variety of sizes, and there is a category also that you'll fill out. Like I told you the other day, that's kind of like the type of fabric so that we can get a little bit of variety. The idea of an exhibit at the museum is to show a variety of quilts done with the same pattern, all inspired by the vintage quilt, the antique quilt that is in the collection of the museum. So, you know, even down to a pillow, like, but it has to be finished. Whatever you do has to be finished in the photos you send, so that when we look at your photos, we see a finished quilt. So that's what you have to do. Remember, I'm going to be talking about this until the end of the month, because I don't want anybody to miss out that has been thinking about it. And I know a lot of you finished because you showed finished quilts. So, you know, there is a commitment for filling out the thing, paying your, I think it's $25 registration, and then waiting to be selected. And then after that, your quilt will have to ship to the museum. It will hang in the museum for several months and then come back to you. So, you know, I understand, you know, that you have to, you know, be prepared for that quilt to be gone for a little bit. But how often do you get a chance to have your quilt hang in a museum? It is so exciting. Wendy and I and Alicia, the director of the Virginia Quilt Museum, are all so incredibly excited to be able to put this exhibit on in the brand new facility that they're moving to in the middle of this, well, at the end of this month, the end of June, they will move to the new facility. So, excitement, excitement, excitement. So be sure you get that done, and I can't wait to see what else you're working on. I am going to go and drag all of my red, white, and blue quilts out and start getting them ready so that tomorrow's video I can show you my makeover, my seasonal makeover for my living room. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.